Good evening, fight fans. Welcome to another great episode of Headkicks and Haymakers. I'm your boy Bodkins, and of course, always with me is Mr. Bobby Blunts. Man, we are coming to you a day later. As you can tell, my voice is a little off, so we sat out last night. Hope to kind of recover. It was worse yesterday, but we're gonna go back at it today. I'm on antibiotics. They don't really know what the fuck's wrong with me, Bobby. Went to the doctor yesterday. They gave me a look over, said nothing's fucking wrong with you. I said, well, I don't sound like I fucking been smoking cigarettes for 50 years. They help me out here. I talk on a microphone and talk for a living. I can't fucking sound like this. But nonetheless, here we are. These fucking antibiotics I'm on are fucking making me hungry. I feel like I'm fucking high without being high, and I got fucking munchies. It fucking sucks. So, nonetheless, we got a jam-packed show tonight. We'll have Donn Davis joining us again for a brief time. We got a lot to talk to him about the PFL. But Bobby, I mean, I don't know where do we go. Again, we'll start chronologically. Saturday night, JDM crashes the fucking party and absolutely wins. I don't know what the judges saw. I think I had it 3-1 going into the fifth round, and then some judges had it 2-2. But it was a masterclass by the new welterweight champion, Jack Della Jacko.
Yeah, no, that was a hell of a card. I mean, the whole thing delivered on a whole, but mainly, on the main event. Um, I mean, for me, easily the only thing contending for fight of the year for it would be Usman and Hughes won, but like for UFC, easily fight of the year for me. I think a lot of people thought it would just be kind of, a boring stall out, and it was the complete opposite. And if you don't have respect for Bilal Muhammad after this, I just don't know what to say to you at this point. Scorecards were kind of all over the place. I rewatching it back had kind of the same score. I did have it 2-2 going into the fifth, but some of the rounds were so razor close. I have absolutely no issue if anyone had 3-1 going into the fifth easily.
I think
But
that first round, it seemed like that's where the other, like maybe I had a JDM in that first round. I need to go back and rewatch it, but in my time, I had it for JDM in the first.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty close. In real time, I definitely thought he had it as well. The very end of the first, there's some sequences that I think maybe swayed those judges. But I mean, like you said, the story of the night was absolutely JDM and how much he's definitely leveled up with his takedown defense. And I mean, mainly, the first movement of the takedown defense. And I was pretty baffled seeing the reaction to a lot of fighters online saying like, "Oh, well, Bilal should have just wrestled more. This was a terrible game plan." I couldn't disagree more. I think Bilal fought the perfect fight, had the perfect game plan, but guess what? Jack Della just had a much better game plan. You could see the, Craig Jones special when he was getting up against the cage, using the wrist lock there, getting off it. It was very fun to watch. And, you know, I get the whole idea of thinking, oh, well, why wasn't Bilal more active in shooting in like the first round and stuff? But JDM did a great job the entire first round, pretty much staying off the fence, circling away. I mean, the thing we really liked about him in the fight was the, distance control, if he was going to be able to win. And he just did it masterfully. He turned in a championship performance in a championship fight, coming off that layoff too. But, you saw his head movement improve. The combinations were pretty sick. And, yeah, like you said, the party might be spoiled, but at the same time, looking at it, this is kind of a nice consolation prize with what we're really going to get. I may not agree with some of the semantics the UFC chose to do, but after the end of Saturday night, I knew we were not getting Islam versus Ilya. Like that fight
Yeah, well,
is dead in the water completely.
yeah, we'll get that. We'll get to that in just a minute. But I want to get back to Jack in the Bilal fight real quick. I mean, whoever was like JDM did such a great job. Like he did not let Bilal's pressure. Like he did not back down. He was the one pressuring. He was the one going forward. Whoever was going forward was winning. The takedown. I mean, that year off, that was a whole different year. JDM, I felt like in the wrestling aspect than we last saw a year ago against Gilbert Burns. Remember, I mean, Burns was kind of having his way with him on them takedowns in that fight. And you just going in thinking, you know, Bilal's gonna, and he did master, he did take down after trying to take. JDM stuffed him and stuffed him and stuffed him. And then when he did get the takedown, he popped up. You know what I mean? And then there was just times, I think it was in the third and fourth round, man. JDM, the head movement, he was mimicking Bilal. I mean, he was flowing. It was like he was making a mockery of Bilal and was just cold-blooded.
He
I
was
thought, man, that
styling in
fifth
the
round,
second too. He faked
yeah,
the
yeah.
feint. Like he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
definitely
I
feeling
couldn't remember
himself
which
in there
round
the
that
whole
was. It was,
time.
yeah, I knew it was in those
Yeah.
in between rounds,
Yeah. Oh,
where
he
he
did it
was just,
multiple rounds. Yeah.
yeah, he was flowing. It was such a fantastic fight. I mean, not only was it fight of the night, I think that fifth round could have been almost round of the year type esque. You know, and maybe there was a the Aldo fight and it's Zababi fight was a close fight, and the third, that was a hell of a round too. But that, man, I thought JDM was going to get him out of there a few times. And he even said, like, I probably should have put the floor on, you know, put the pedal on the floor and got him out. But Bilal was tough, and man, was he busted up. He looked like a fighter. That guy, I mean, the lip, the eye, and everything. And not saying JDM, he has a few, you know, sores too, but Bilal's lip is busted. Everything seemed to be messed up on him, and it was just a fantastic fight. What a game plan by JDM and the boys. Huge, you know, they opened up pretty huge underdogs. I mean, they closed the gap the closer the fight got. But man, I was impressed by JDM in that fight, round for round. And anybody, you know, we'll get to the Islam stuff, but I want to kind of talk about the whole pay-per-view before we get to that. But anybody that thinks that Islam's just going to steamroll him didn't watch that fight Saturday. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then on that with going back to like why didn't Bilal wrestle more and stuff when he had the wrestling success mainly in the fifth round. That's when JDM was able to also inflict the most damage. If Bilal didn't lose that top position, it might be a completely different thing. But the point is, like he did, and then he took advantage of it and left. You know, he clearly won the fight in the end. Like he stamped his foot on it to be like, just in case you thought that I lost this round or this round, I clearly won the fifth. And I mean, in all of the rounds, like Bilal seemed to be in other rounds hitting him with more volume, but JDM was definitely, inflicting more damage. So, yeah, great performance. And, it's pretty cool to see what's next to come.
Yeah, and we'll get to that, and we'll get to the rest of the pay-per-view. But before there was, the UFC on Saturday afternoon. We couldn't really watch it here in the States. We were told why we couldn't watch it in the States, but at least they played the whole fight out. And nothing, was better for the PFL. Their biggest star, and Phil Hughes, in big news, comes away with a 22nd win, and kind of talk about it. And we got some other guests, and we thank him for his time. We've been shouted out by several people for having him on the last week. We thank him again, Mr. Donn Davis. Donn, thanks again for having us coming on the podcast.
Happy to be here. We've got a lot to discuss. And yeah, talk about a big shout out on the boys in the back. It was great to hear you all shout it out.
Thank you. Again, we wouldn't have been shouted out. Plus, Ben the Bane Davis, big fan of yours, he says, and a big fan of what happened. Donn, let's get into it. Saturday, we told you there was going to be some complaints when people couldn't watch Phil Hughes. Unlike me and Bobby here, we're diehard PFL fans. We knew that we wouldn't be able to watch Phil on Saturday.
Paul.
Paul. I don't know why I keep saying Phil.
It's the antibiotics.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Paul,
you're getting him confused with our other star, Phil Davis. Go on.
That's it. That's it. Paul. Paul Hughes. We knew we couldn't watch Paul on Saturday, but it seemed like the world found out on Saturday that they wouldn't be able to watch that. What do you make of the backlash that we're getting here?
It was short-lived. It was as short-lived as it took for Paul Hughes to finish that fight. You know what I mean? And I'm sure this is why you had me on. There's nothing else going on in the PFL worth discussing than the new Samsung TV channel and the forthcoming plans for U.S. and Canada-based fans to watch the international fights. So, I told you these distribution deals are complicated, and we got something coming that is going to make everyone happy. So it was a shame that people were not able to watch the card in its entirety, but they got to see Big News do his thing.
Samsung channel? Is that like an app, or where do I find that at?
Samsung TV.
What?
In the United States and Canada.
Okay. I never even heard of that. I didn't know there was a thing. Like there's a TV, I know, but like is it like just going to be on my TV?
It's going to be under Samsung TV.
Okay. So you have to have a Samsung TV to watch it.
Yes.
To watch it. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
In the U.S. or Canada.
Doesn't
work if you're in Australia. Doesn't work if you're in South Africa. But yes.
What about?
Well, YouTube may be forthcoming. Okay. That's all I can say for now. But we heard everyone loud and clear, and the rest of that card was great as well. Top to bottom, it was a fun card. And obviously the cherry on top was that amazing storybook finish for Big News. But yes, we hear everyone loud and clear. The announcement of PFL Africa, our debut in Cape Town, and the opening of PFL Pacific is just going to be more opportunities where fans around the world outside of those regions are going to want to tune in, and complaints heard. And we are working on that, and it will be announced as soon as we are able to do so.
Donn, it doesn't really make sense to me. You're opening up these leagues, but yet you couldn't host PFL Paris this weekend.
Well, we tried. That's why it was initially announced, and that is unfortunately all I can say about it. It's as Connor Burks would say, tough.
So there's no reason why we're not getting PFL Paris.
There's reasons.
That's one of your biggest markets.
Absolutely. There's not reasons that I can talk about here with you on the show today. I'd love to spin your yarn, but unfortunately, no. And that's why we are in that unfortunate position of having had to announce it and then retract it. Obviously, never want to be in that position. But let's focus on the positive. Let's talk about Sergio Pettis versus Rafian Stotts. Thought that's why you had me on.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But I got so many other questions, Donn.
Okay.
Patchy Nicks, you guys just let him walk out the door. And it seems like a lot of these elite clients are leaving the PFL. Are you worried that Nurmagomedov will leave and we won't get the Paul Hughes fight?
Am I worried? No. Am I, a realist and prepared for the eventuality that more fighters may want to go elsewhere to have easier matchups? You can check Fight Matrix, possibly, and we are going to do everything we can to have fighters who want to be in the PFL stay in the PFL, and we wish Patchy well. Just wanted to reiterate his message to us. Starts it by saying, I want to thank the PFL. I wish the PFL all the success in the world going forward. And it's okay. Gloves are off. Here's what's going on. We acquired Bellator for nothing, right?
Yeah.
We were given them for monopoly money. And we are putting ourselves in the best position possible to have stars like Patchy Mix, who he knows his value, okay? And we have advertisers who are not paying us. That's why I'm suing all of them. Want to go to the UFC and get paid what he's worth. And we are not, like the UFC, going to keep him in some deal, not fighting, scheduling him against Francis Ngannou, aka Nate Diaz versus Hamzat Chimaev, okay? Real fans haven't forgotten that. We're not going to do things like that to our stars. We're going to let them go. We're going to part, amicably. And, I think Patchy's going to do very well in the UFC. And when he does, it's going to reflect positively on us. So do I think Nurmagomedov may, want to avoid the Paul Hughes fight? Possibly, right? I mean, Paul Hughes isn't trying to avoid it. Obviously, on paper he lost, but look at the verdict scorecards, look at the media scorecards. It was not a decisive win for Nurmagomedov. And there's a lot of ways that you can negotiate a fight, and one of them is negotiating yourself out of it. It's not as though Patchy Mix was avoiding anyone. He wanted to go get the maximum amount of dollars for his services, which frankly I wish we could pay him. I've done everything I can. I should say, have done everything we can to ensure that happens. But I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life, and this is what building global brands and one global brand, which is many global brands, looks like.
Bobby, any questions for Mr. Davis?
It would probably just go back to the Bellator acquisition. You said you bought it for like pennies on the dollar, but when you see all of these stars that you paid money for, pretty much just go to the UFC because they can't get fights. Do you think that there was much benefit of doing the Bellator sale, or would you chalk that up as maybe a mistake?
There was absolutely massive benefits. And when you say pennies on the dollar, I say no, literally monopoly money. Okay. That was entirely, and this is serious, entirely for our benefit. Not every Bellator fighter is, running away. Does this look rough in the short term? Yeah, absolutely. We've been taking our licks. Okay. And, I learned a lot from these fighters. I didn't come in as someone who trained, came in as an entrepreneur. And it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down. It matters how many times you get back up. And yeah, the media's having a field day with this guy's leaving, this guy's leaving. Some of them obviously more amicably than others, right? But yeah, it's we are in a unique position being the only other game in town, right? There's other people doing different things. There's the KSWs, there's the Ryzens, there's the Octagons, there's the BKFCs. There's really only I literally forgot about one. What does that tell you? There's really only one other game in town for MMA, and it's us. And it used to be Bellator. And Scott Coker was a great businessman, but they obviously made some mistakes, right? We were the ones who acquired their fighters, and he also did right by them of giving them some pretty great for their bank accounts deals before signing them for literally monopoly money. So
Do you
it's
do you
go ahead,
do you
please.
think Scott Coker screwed you, or knew they were going to sell and screwed you because you then had to pay? You were supposed to pay these guys,
Not at
and he
all.
give all these
Not at
a
all.
nice parting gift.
No, listen, not at all. I've said it before on your show. The best deals make both sides a little uncomfortable. And yeah, was he uncomfortable signing away his company, having the announcements go out the way that it did? It's not some big blockbuster acquisition. Yeah, was I uncomfortable inheriting a number of fighters with massive contract purses that absolutely would not be? There's many questions, right? That's going to be tough to fulfill, to give them realistic fight offers in the realistic amount of times. Uh, Here's another thing. Put my promoter cap back on. Not everyone has what it takes for the PFL World Tournament. Now I'll go to the big boys, right? The UFC. What do they always say? The toughest tournament in sports is the Ultimate Fighter. Well, not anymore. The toughest tournament in sports, the hardest thing to do is win. Bobby, you're making me laugh, and this ain't funny. The hardest thing to do is win the PFL World Tournament. Okay, yeah, tough is a great premise, and now it's basically turned into a sappy reality show for guys and gals who can't make it on Contender Series, and God bless them. I'm tuning in. I'm excited for uh, whoever they have coach this one, but they did my buddy could have been his promoter if the timing had worked out. Michael Chandler, pretty dirty. Oh, did I lose you? There.
No, we're here.
I'm still here.
We're here. We're here.
Anyway, half of it is a paycheck. Oh, you're both buffering.
Yep.
We can hear
we're
you,
good,
Don.
We can hear you, Don.
Okay, maybe it's just me. I was going to say, taking over your show. Listen, half of it is the paychecks, right? Half of it is fighters. Oh, it is my connection, huh? Yeah, I'm traveling.
Hey, Don.
Close your LinkedIn app.
Uh-oh. Did we lose Don? Hey, I think we lost him, Bobby.
Oh.
Don forgot to pay his internet. He's out here paying fighters. Forgot to pay his internet. Well, maybe we'll reconnect with Don. If not, your thoughts on, is he there? Oh, shit. I don't know. Don, are you there still? Don, are you there? I think we lost him, Bobby.
Yeah, I think the picture says it all with the hands.
We did. Yeah, we lost him. Maybe he'll reconnect. Maybe he won't. But your thoughts on what Don had to say? It sounds like, a lot to say there about patching
the event was a success. Like just talking about the Paul Hughes, and fortunately for them, the fight was 40 seconds, so it was immediately able to go out on all socials. Now, I am at all not absolving them. It was moronic that you could not watch the fight in America. But it is what it is. They're trying. I'm glad they got it connected.
I don't
figured
understand the Samsung channel thing. Is that a thing?
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be on something that I know we'll be able to watch. And when he tweeted that announcement, to me it was like it reminded me of, the Wedding Singer when he like yelled it. He was like, "This is something I could have realized yesterday." And I mean, they knew this was like the case.
Oh,
I,
he's back. He's back. We got him back. Hey, Don, are you there?
Yes, I'm traveling for business. I'm out here in Cape Town, and I'm on a crazy SIM card anyway.
Oh,
Apologies for
okay.
that. I hope you didn't say
No,
anything
no,
too bad about me behind my back, but
no,
I
Don,
get it.
you're good. We just wanted to thank you again. We understand you're on business. You got a event that's getting ready to kick off here, and next month, right? June 12th, I believe. Event is that what we're talking here? Cape Town
Let
is when's your Thursday, June 12th is your next
yeah,
big event, the welterweight semifinal, Don.
Yes, the semifinals.
in Chicago.
Yes,
Cl-
I'm so jet lagged. I'm getting my events mixed up. When is the next one? No, um, June 12th. The continuation of the PFL World Tournament in the Nashville Municipal Auditorium in Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, okay. That's not the Chicago one.
After that,
Chicago's
we
one's
have
after that.
no. Then we have so that's Thursday in Nashville.
Yeah.
Friday, June 20th. Okay, we're going to the Intrust Bank Arena in Wichita, Kansas. And then Friday, June 27th, a lot of PFL in June. We're hosting the World Tournament in the Wintrust Arena, sponsors of the great, maybe not a baseball, Chicago White Sox in Chicago, Illinois. Yes, Rob
Wow.
Thomas, I'm here.
Yeah. I
Oh,
do got to say,
well,
well done for getting out of Universal Studios. That is, great. And I do like that the tournament is more easy to follow. You don't need to really worry about points and everything, the single elimination. So I think everything they've done with the tournament in the United States has been a lot better than last year. But my main question is, do you think there will ever be a point where you just possibly abandon the tournament format and just do matchmaking?
We'll have to see. It's definitely not the vision, right? I mean, this has been a great adjustment. Two things allowed for elbows, the rigorous schedule of the tournament in its original form. Um, yeah, it was rough. And I agree. I think we're getting a lot of positive feedback in terms of the tournament structure. There's always going to be the big super fight events, right? We've had one already, and there will be more to come. Um, PFL is in the we're interested in doing something different, and it's not going to work if we are trying to be a worse version of the UFC, especially with where they're at now. We have to do something different within MMA, and part of it is the regional strategy, working on the regions in the world that do not already have a massive global presence. Um, I wish the Paris event had gone off as planned, but we will absolutely be back there. Um, the event in Cape Town is going to be amazing. I'm so excited for everyone to see what we have planned in PFL Pacific. But yeah, as far as going, toe to toe with the UFC in the United States, it's in terms of matchmaking, it's just we make stars, and we're interested in making stars through our tournament. That's how we're different, right? And it's going to become increasingly clear as these new fans, that the UFC is catering to, who are really not MMA fans, and they're not passionate in the same way that you two are, that your fans are here. Um, you know, it's been a talking point in the media of, does the UFC have a star problem? And the UFC would say, no. If we had stars, that would be a problem. Okay? Paul Hughes, Dakota Ditcheva. I would say Cedric, but he was a star before we even signed him, right? There will be more stars. Fat, Okay, great example. He is a rising star and will continue to rise most likely if he keeps fighting how he has. The tournament gives MMA fans and sports fans a story to follow without the politics, without um, you know pound for pound number one not wanting to fight pound for pound number two. And again, I'm thinking of Nurmagomedov. If he wants to try and play that game, that don't fly in the PFL. And maybe he needs to go, fly somewhere where it does. And this isn't me playing hardball.
Be
Okay,
careful, Don. I want to see that rematch. Don't say
I
anything
do
you'll
too.
regret.
His translators got my back.
Okay. Hey, Don, I know you're busy, you're traveling, so we appreciate you again coming on. Thanks again. One last thing, Don. Go Cubs, go, baby. Go Cubs, go. I'm sure I heard you're a big Cubs fan.
Now that is cap. I am a White Sox fan, just like our Pope, and look forward to the PFL World Tournament in the Wintrust Arena. Okay, sponsors of the Chicago White Sox.
Is the
We need all
Pope
the help
really
we
a
can get.
White Sox fan?
Not only is he a White Sox fan, Bobby, he was on the Fox broadcast at Game 1 of the 2005 World Series. And we need the help of our Lord above to do better than last year. So if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. And just want to quickly shout out the other events that we've announced, building toward the debut in Cape Town. Friday, August 1st, continuation of the World Tournament, Jim Whelan Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Then we are moving Friday, August 15th to the Bojangles Coliseum. It's just a funny word, in Charlotte, North Carolina. Oh, they are going to kill me for this. And Thursday, August 21, Hard Rock Live at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida. I'm just laughing because I have so much fun talking with y'all. So happy that you got that shout out today. This is a great program. Thank you for having me on as always. Thank you for understanding about, Patchy Mix leaving and for promoting Sergio Pettis versus Rafian Stotts, as well as all the other great fights. I look forward to hearing the rest of what you have to talk about this evening. Take care.
I appreciate it, Don. Thank you. Everybody give it up for the PFL CEO, Mr. Donn Davis. Thanks, Don. See ya. As always, it's a pleasure talking to Mr. Donn Davis. Doesn't sound like they're getting rid of the tournament, according to Mr. Davis, Bobby. So, man, what an incredible...
Yeah, he's got a lot of energy. You can feel the passion.
Yeah. He loves it's about that Bojangles Coliseum he struggled with, but man. Anyway, let's back up to where were we at? Oh, we were talking about the UFC pay-per-view. Incredible by Donn Davis. We can't thank him enough for blessing with his time as he traveled. But so, I mean, we sounds like he's going to try to work back to Saturday, though. Sounds like he's going to try to do the Nurmagomedov Hughes too, which is what we talked about. Fight of the year. We saw fight of the year candidate in the main event, the UFC pay per view. What was that? I don't even know. 315. I think I don't fucking know anymore, Bobby.
315. Yeah.
And incredible main event, and we'll get to the rest of the storyline. I want to kind of back up the rest of the card. The Bullet, it wins. I've actually pretty much, I don't want to say a close one, but kind of handled business. But Minyor had some moments in that fight.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the first round, like right when the first round started. She's like standing there right in the pocket moving, and Valentina was having none of that shit, popping her easily. I immediately was like, yeah, I got this extremely wrong. Credit to Ferro for bouncing back after absorbing quite a bit of damage. She did have a better second round. And it was, she did have her moments in the fight, but for the most part, Valentina was getting it done. So
Just missed him, Mike. Just missed him.
Oh,
Yeah,
damn.
yeah. I was the same way, Bobby. I was like, "Ooh, I feel pretty good." After the first round, I was like, "Valentine's probably a decision."
Yeah, I did like when they went to the judges' scorecards, I wasn't even really listening to them. I assumed she could have won. Uh, I could see people definitely giving Farod certain rounds, but I thought Valentina in the end, just with the damage she inflicted in the first, easily would win a split decision. So, um, you know, there were definitely moments that Perot had in the fight. I'm pretty sure she had a busted nose because she was like wincing every time she was doing any grappling or even moving in. But Valentina continues to roll back the clock and suggest that age is just a number. And there were some other exciting fights on the card that kind of makes you wonder, well, where are they going to go with that one there? Because
They
they
have
got a
to do the
few
weight
options.
fight, right? They have to do the Whaley fight.
I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on it. Like, I'd have no issues with them doing that fight. Um, I also think you saw that performance from Silva and think her and Valentina would be really good. But if they both want to do the super fight, as long as they strip Wei Lee, I would have no problem with it. If
Yeah,
they end up if they let her keep that title, I am going to be the most unbearable fucking person ever and voice my displeasure about it. I'm not saying Wei Lee deserves to be stripped, but we got to keep this shit all in one. You cannot be
we
like, hey,
but
Islam
not
needs to
we
be.
know that Bobby. It's not one's not all the same, and we know that. We know that, right? You know that that's not true.
Yeah, I mean, just a bag of wolf tickets, but I'm sure we'll get into it.
Yeah, I mean, really, let me I wanted to shout out who did you think won that Aldo fight? I thought Aldo won. Aldo won.
Also think Aldo won. I find it quite fitting that GSP was in his corner because that was the most botched decision next to Hendricks GSP. I'm obviously kidding with that. Credit to that third round was insane. Being able to come back after taking a soccer kick. So if you want to say he won round two and won round three, I'm not mad about it. It was just kind of unfitting that Aldo decided to retire afterwards. But yeah, in real time, I did score it for Aldo. But you know,
I,
he got a little bit of Canadian judging. So what's wrong with that?
yeah, maybe they punished Aldo for not making the weight and was like, yeah, fuck it, he didn't make the weight, give him the loss.
I saw a
I
lot
was
of people voicing that opinion. Like, who cares if he got screwed? He didn't make the weight. This is karma.
yeah,
Like, get off your soapbox.
yeah, yeah. That's maybe that's what the judges were saying. I always find it funny when a guy retires after a loss. It's like, well, if you would have won, would you have retired? You know what I mean? If he would have won out with Aldo retired, and so who knows? It seems like he was kind of gave up weight cutting, gave up. Not that he gave up in the fight, but just was like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
But who knows? This is his second retirement, so who knows?
Yeah, it made it sound like prior to the fight even happening, he knew it was going to be the last one. But yeah, we have kind of seen him unretire before. And, he already kind of had that perfect moment when he was walking into, the UFC Hall of Fame. There's that viral clip of that. But
Yeah,
it's just kind of more of the frustration of matchmaking. But at the same time, like their ages were close, and credit to Elbazi for taking the fight and with the commission rules, like they pretty much had to make it in a different division. But credit to him for taking the fight and absorbing a lot of damage and still fighting through it and coming back. For me, I could not give him a 10-8 round because of the damage that was given to him early. But at the end of the day, I'm not mad that he won the fight. It was just kind of a salty moment in real time, like damn, like they really just did Aldo like that. But watching it back,
yeah.
I could see avenues for both argument.
Yeah. Real quick, Jasmine, nice win by Jasmine Jasovicius. I think she's probably one away. It looks like nice win by Mike Malott as well. On the
Jasovicius
undercard.
should have been on the main card for sure.
Yeah,
Like they should
yeah,
have had Grasso Silva, even though I enjoyed that fight. That should have probably been on the prelims going into the main card. But I know they didn't want to do Grasso like that because she's a former champion and all. But you know, she ragdolled Jessica Andrade and
yeah. Not too many
then
people
got
say that. Do that. You know what I mean? That's what's
yeah.
wild.
That was very impressive. For
Yeah,
especially when you see how the other two women fights went on the main card. Um, come on, UFC, bump her up.
yeah. She's probably one away. Maybe she gets the I think what is it? Macy Barber and uh who's she fighting?
Blanchfield.
Blanchfield, yeah, she can get the winner of that, I think, and then that winner would put them right there. Silva seems right there, but I want to go back to something we talked about earlier, Bobby. I said they got to do Whaley and Valentina. That's the biggest women's fight that they can make. That's the pound for pound, one and two. Bobby, we're not getting as of Saturday, and now it's time we'll talk about it. As of Saturday, we are not going to get Islam versus Ilya. And they say Islam vacated, but we know that's not the fucking truth. They made him vacate. They said, no, if you're going to move up, you're fucking dropping this fucking belt. And I am in the camp that they still should have done Islam versus Ilya. They should have done it. They should have just done it in 2 months, in 48 days or whatever it is, and less than that now. And they should have done that fight. And that's the fight. That was the fight to make. It was right there. And I get it. JDM crashed the party. He's the welterweight champ, but it still puts him on the same timeline. And you're like, well, they got to, if they're not going to strip Whaley. What the fuck? They're not going to strip her. But
I will bet money they strip her if she goes up. It's all because of Disney. Like this is because of the ESPN deal why this is happening. They have to fulfill content, plain and simple. And in my perfect world, I would have not stripped Islam and had like I'm sorry, just pay Ilya the pay-per-view point. Like I don't give a shit if he's fighting for the interim title. Like all they're doing now is devaluing the belts they had. But at the same time, if you look at it through the promoter lens, what else are they supposed to do when they need these events? And Ilya being stripped of the 145 title, I think we can absolutely call it that. It was pretty much the same scenario. We need this for this. But for me, with what Islam has done, taking fights on 12 hours notice, plus the other names, I'm sorry, you can make an interim title for that when we already have a fucking interim title for the heavyweight champion because he's deciding not to fight. And it's clear that is why this did not get made. John Jones mainly ruined it for everyone. Like, if there wasn't this drama,
like all things aren't created equal around here. You're saying that they need a strip Whaley if she wants to move up to fight Valentina. I said all things aren't created equal. We know that, right? Because we've seen John Jones have the heavyweight title for fucking 2-3 years now and not fight Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall's longest reigning interim champion of all time, and that'll be a record that never gets broken. Because who knows if they're fighting. Now, Dana did come out and say it will get done, but at this fucking point in time, I don't know if I trust.
Yeah.
I trust that. I trust that statement as much as I trust Connor tweeting, "Let's get back to it," or whatever the fuck he said, hinting at a comeback. I trust those statements about the same right now. I feel like they could have just let Islam move. If you're gonna, I feel like either A, let Islam fight at 155, make him fight the title against Ilya, just because that's the super fucking fight. Now, if you're not going to, let him fight. Let Charles and Ilya fight for the interim. Give pay-per-view points and call it is what it is. You know, I will say this about the Ilya. Ilya said, "I'm done at 145. I can't make the weight." Islam has not said that. He is like, I just want double champ status. I think like he's trying to. How can I don't know if he's trying to, but how can he up Khabib, right? Like, how can make my legacy better than my predecessor by double champ status? Khabib never had double champ status. So if I do that, then that puts me up there as one of the greatest of all time, and it may nudge him against Khabib. I don't know if he beats JD. That's 15 pounds. We're not talking 10. We're talking 15 plus. And I know Islam looks like a 170er, but shit, JDM is bigger. You know what I mean? Just the length of these guys at in the size at 170 is bigger. It'll be interesting, and maybe Islam wins the 170 and says, "I'm going to go back down if Ilya wins," and then we get it that way. Maybe that's what happens, and that becomes a bigger fight. But do you strip him from the 170 at that point in time? Because that's the precedent that you've set.
Well, I mean, what I would have just had him do is give him the option and move up. And then
Yeah.
if he decides he doesn't want to go back down to 155, then you could take it from him. But like, what is the rush of, the fight is going to be identically the same with Ilya versus Charles, whether it's for the undisputed or the interim. Like, I'm sorry, like all those events is pretty much we need the title fight to headline it. And
Let me ask you this.
like,
let me ask you this, and I kind of brought this up in the Discord, but I don't, it's hard for me to talk about it. I type about it and then instead of talking about it. If Alex Pierre, we found out Monday or sometime, really, Alex really wasn't fucking hacked. We understand that. He was asked to fight at International Fight Week against Big Ankalaev, the rematch. If Alex Pierre says, yes, I'll do that, and they have their fucking headliner for International Fight Week, I do not think we get all this bullshit. I think they get the game down the road, right? They'll be like, Islam can move up. Maybe they don't strip him, right? And they maybe do an interim, but then they have their title fight for International Fight Week. So I think the domino effect, hey, he's not going to fight. And then allegedly they asked Yuri, and Yuri's in college. He said, fuck it, school's more important. I got to graduate college. I'm going to do that, finish that. Then talk to me about fighting. So they couldn't make that fight. So I think the domino effect was, and I don't know, maybe Islam didn't want to fight Ilya in 40 some odd days. I don't know. That's the thing we can't figure out. Now, allegedly, had Bilal won, he was going to. But JDM wins, and so I don't understand that. Like, then just keep the fucking fight. But it's funny because I'm on a train of thought here. What happens with Bilal now? Because if Islam, let's say Islam fights at 170 and wins the title, what's Bilal supposed to fucking do the rest of his life? He doesn't want to fight his buddy, remember? So what the fuck does he do? Just be a gatekeeper for the rest of his life?
I mean, he could go up to 185, or for me, what I want next for him is for them to book the Shavkat fight. There's no way Shavkat is getting the next shot. And at this point, he needs to fight, not because he needs it for title contention. I think he just needs a fight. Like, especially when you looked at his last performance with Ian Gary, like, make sure you're completely healthy going in there. And, let's get the Bilal Shavkat fight that we never got.
I'm good with that.
Personally, I think it was decided well before. And, Dana kind of let it slip that when he announced it, he said, oh, well, if Islam moved up to fight Bilal, he'd be like an 8-1 favorite. But now it's like a 50-50 thing. Now, granted, I do not think Islam would fight Bilal, But I believe in Dana's mind, he thought that they were, and that like never actually was an issue because they weren't like really presented with it. Like they didn't give him a match or anything like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think the Pereira thing was more like a feeler out for to make sure that they had another backup plan in case they couldn't get it. Like that was their Hail Mary last resort. Um, but
So
I don't
you
think
think this was their plan kind of somewhat all along? Like I think so maybe you're saying like maybe I'm thinking Pierre was first and then they had this, but you think that that was like bottom line, like if we need to pull this out of the bag, we can pull this out of the bag.
yeah, and that would explain his hacked thing of claiming. And for one, who hacks something and talks about fighter pay? Like that has to be a first. And I don't blame him for saying that because, like, he probably, they played tough with him, but then he kind of realizes, oh, well, I'm not the champion anymore, and I'm just like everyone else, even if he has like showed up for him on short notice. But
Yeah.
like to me, if they are able to strip Islam, everything else is off the table. Like, and they are just gonna take the belt back and stuff. And you know, I could, I don't see a world where he goes back down to 55. I
What
think
if he
he's just
loses?
gonna.
What if he loses? Because I think that's watching JDM on Saturday night. I think that's a possibility.
Um, I'm much more intrigued to watch the fight, and but a lot of the intrigue is to see Islam go up to 170 because of all these other contenders that are at the top besides JDM. So yeah, obviously JDM could win the fight, um, but what Islam does well, like it's not like Bullet Law is like spammer like with wrestling, unless like he's fighting Leon Edwards who can't stay off the fence and stuff. But what Islam specializes in is being able to get that level change when he can't and he adjusts to it. So yeah, obviously you can't rule Jack out, but after I sat with it on Saturday, I absolutely got on board. Like the fights they announced, like let me be clear, Hamzat Shemaev and Dricus du Plessis, that's my most anticipated fight. Ilya going up to 155 to fight Charles, great consolation prize, but definitely not what I wanted. But I got to take what we're getting. So
I said that. I said we're not the chefs. You know what I mean? We're the guys that eat in the menu, and that's not on the menu. So I can't judge it anymore. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
man, they've been going back and forth on Twitter. I mean, if you're gonna fucking talk all this shit, just might as well just fucking fight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I know there are a lot of loyal Islam fans who were also big fans of Ilya, and they don't like how Ilya's been talking to him disrespectfully and stuff and just kind of overlooking him. To me, it does not bother me because like these guys have to have an arrogant like type of confidence, So
Give us a
and to
name
me
where
that
you.
fight is never happening.
Yeah,
The time for it to happen, like this is why you wanted to have it booked prior to going in. Now that it's not, like I don't think there's a chance in hell Islam is going to go back down to 55. And for the
I agree.
record, that does not mean that he's ducking it. Like, can we stop with all this ducking shit? Like, maybe I'm just getting too old, Bakins, but like, if you're telling me that that Ilya Taporia was running away from Diego Lopez, like give me a fucking break. That is the dumbest
I don't
thing
think
I have
anybody's
ever
ducking
heard.
anybody. I really
Yeah,
don't think. I get it from both sides. Like Ilya literally said, "I can't make 145 anymore. I can't
yeah,
make that weight." And
but
if you look
but
at him, you look like he can't make 145. And I get it for. I don't really want to say Islam's ducking Ilya. Like I get it from his standpoint. It's like he hasn't really done much, and it's not like It's not like a legacy fight, like when he fought Volk, right? Like that was a legacy. They were both 1 and 2, pound for pound. Like they were both kind of right there. Volk had really cleaned out everybody, had done everything and anything. So that was more of a legacy type fight. The first one, not really the second one. The
But
second one was
but
obviously just a short notice.
but staying on that, like the Volk fight is the exact reason that this is happening. Because like Dana himself at a slap press conference and at another post-fight thing literally alluded to this, saying, well, Islam, needs to fight more than like 145ers. And then, you have these people who just regurgitate anything, thinking that Islam actually hasn't accomplished anything in 55. And now he's going up to 170 to smash that moronic fucking narrative. Like, literally, what are they going to say after he wins 3 fights in 170? I assure you, they'll make some bullshit up, and I'm going to be laughing at it when they do. Because, at a certain point, some of this shit gets old, and it's just like internet bullshit.
Yeah. Craig wants to know, Ilya or JDM, tougher fight for Islam?
I mean, probably JDM because of just on the size.
Yeah, I think so too, right? I think so too. Yeah. After what I saw Saturday night, I think I'd side with the size. Let's play real quick before we look into this kind of like this weekend, and it's another welterweights, Morales versus Burns. Man, Burns is a huge dog in this fight. But I want to kind of play matchmaker here because I talked about it last week. It's like this was like the cult of like the welterweight tournament is kind of over, and we have a new champ. So we know we're going to say JDM versus Islam. We know that's happening. So you like Bilal versus Shavkat next?
Absolutely, but I don't think it's what the UFC is going to do at all. They have this default thing when the guy loses the belt, they put him at one. And I just don't see the UFC making that fight with the title not on the line. I hope I'm wrong, but in a fan aspect, that's what I want to see 100%.
Yeah, I why not? And you can do Tom Brady versus Ian Gary, right? Like they've been chirping at
Easily.
each other.
That should already be booked.
Yeah. You got, so we know Kamaru, who is at 5, is fighting Joaquin Buckley at 7, and then we'll decide kind of what's next. What do you do with Leon? Leon is sitting at 4.
Does he get
does Leon
this
get the winner?
weekend?
Yeah, I was say, does he get the winner this weekend, Morales or Burns?
They could do that. Listening to Tim Simpson, it sounds like he will fight by the end of the year. But I don't know. What you should not do is give him Buckley. Like, I do not want him fighting Buckley. Stylistically, I just think that's a bad matchup for him. But at the same time, Morales is a fucking killer. So, the welterweight is by far, and this was way before Saturday, for the record. Like, the JDM winning did not have this opinion, make me have this opinion. Welterweight has been the hottest division in town for quite a long time. And now you have Islam Makhachev going up there. Like,
we've mentioned it before. I've mentioned it before. Like, we're getting all the new infusion in welterweight. Like before, it was like a repeat of fucking just the same 5 guys, right? Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal, Kamaru Usman, and Leon to some extent. Like it was like those guys, and now we got the infusion of all these young contenders: Joaquin Buckley, Sean Brady, Shavkat, Ian Gary, like, and now JDM is the champion. You know what I mean? So it's like it literally is this new infusion of welterweight where we didn't have that for the probably 3-4 years.
Yeah, it'd be top heavy if Islam was not moving up to the division. It's pretty.
And now you slide in Islam in that equation as well. Man, if I'm Michael Venom Page, I know he's all the way at 15. I am raising my hand and trying to fight Leon Edwards.
That's the name I left out. The only reason I find it a little unlikely is because I believe they have the same manager, but I might be mistaken. Uh, but at the same time, I don't think that would really deter it. But stylistically, I also think that might be a tough fight for Leon too. But
Yeah.
it I think they should absolutely book that. That'd be a good one. They could even do it in London, but I got the understanding that Leon's gonna want to fight stateside or something if it's the end of the year and with what's on the calendar.
Yeah. Um, like I'm looking at the rankings. Like Mauro Usman's the last of that old card. Need Joaquin Buckley to knock him off. And then really it's all the young kids, like all the new blood. And then like the back end, it depending on this weekend, Morales, if he beats Burns, would enter the top 10 as well. And then it's like Colby Covington, Jeff Neal, Stephen Thompson. You do have Carlos Prates there at 13. So it'll be interesting. I would like to see Prates
Do not
rebook
give
that Jeff.
Pratis to Leon.
No, I'd give Prates Jeff Neal, the fight that he was originally supposed to have.
I love that fight.
Yeah, I like the Prates Neal fight. Just rebook that. Bobby, let's real quick before we get up out of here. Let's look at this weekend's card. It is again headlined by Gilbert Burns versus Michael Morales. I mean, Morales we know is a absolute killer. Like you said, 17-0 is this kid, and he is a heavy favorite, minus 850 against a guy who, I mean, Gilbert Burns has come out with some losses, some tough times, but as a guy who has won, has fought for the title. Burns is plus 500. And then you got Paul Craig on the fight. You got Sadiq Youssef fighting at lightweight now on this card. So this card, Jared Gordon's on this card. Nice little Saturday card. At the glorious Apex. Burns and Morales deserve a crowd, but your thoughts here on the main event Saturday?
I'm kind of pissed off. I didn't see it last week, and I don't think an extra 2 rounds justifies putting it in the lifeless fucking Apex. Now, all that being said, great fight. It's obviously the main fight I want to tune into. That line definitely looks a little steep, but I do expect Morales to perform like that in the cage. But Gilbert Burns is tough. He made he made Shamaev look human once. So it's hard to really count him out. But at the same time, Morales is on such a tear. I really don't see it going any other way than him getting his hand raised. But if Gilbert is able to defeat him, oh man, like your 180, 170 is already fucked up at the top. That's gonna make it even more confusing. So, I'm not trying to count Gilbert out or something, but I just rate Morales really high. And though I don't agree with how high that line is, I definitely see him winning pretty emphatically there.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. If Burns pulls off the upset, would be huge, and I don't think he's going to. I mean, Morales is like, get to know this kid. Get him out the fucking Apex, though, can we? I mean, Jesus, this kid. All he
He
does is
wasn't. That's why I'm like yelling because we were supposed to get this fight last week, and
yeah.
with the other fights on the card, damn, that it would have delivered even more. And I completely forgot how terrible BSD looked, even though he got the win. But like, imagine if Morales was slided to fight Burns there. That it would have improved the card like so much. And I said the card delivered, but instead we got this, and the undercard fights on it are not like terrible or anything. I guess they just felt like they needed a bigger main event because it is pretty rough headlining Paul Craig probably. So I get why they did it, but yeah, like I concur. Get this kid out of the Apex.
Yeah, we miss Witt too. Witt should hopefully be back. I was talking to him today. He misses us on stuff on the home front. He'll hopefully be back in the next few weeks. So, yeah, I mean, they could have took Grasso and Silva and headline of that, flip and put Morales and Burns on that card.
They absolutely should have done that. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, easily. But obviously we understand why they hadn't matched up. But yeah, I don't know. It sounds like almost like a waste of time to bitch about the Apex in 2025. But as long as that thing is on all fours and someone hasn't blown it up, I'm gonna keep complaining about it.
Amen to that. My voice is going, so that means it's time to get the hell up out of here, Bobby. We'll be back next week. We'll be back on Wednesday next week, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. Thank you again for everybody tuning in. Like, subscribe, share, please. And we'll be back. Thanks again to the appreciation of Donn Davis, the boys in the back shouting us out today. That was special. I'll be riding Cloud9 for a while. So it has been a great show. We'll be back again, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. Talk about this Burns. Oh, I'm going. I didn't slam the hammer. Give me Morales, baby. Morales gets it done. Probably since Burns, that's like 4 in a row for Burns losses, 3-4 in a row, or like 4 out of his last 5 or something. And it might be time for El Dorino to put the gloves down. Yeah, I hate to say
He's fighting all killers. He'll keep going and entertaining us.
Yeah, true that. He is fighting killers. I ain't gonna lie about that. Be a friend, tell a friend, folks. Like, subscribe, share. Hell, the guy that just beat him the last time out, his last fight, the champ was El Dorino and got a title fight. So
yeah, can't disrespect that resume. It's
let me ask you this real quick. I meant to bring this up. If you're Paddy Pimblett, you don't take a fight right until Ilya fights. You don't schedule nothing.
Considering that fight's in a month, absolutely, you do not schedule anything else. Yeah,
I don't think Ilya's going to call him out, but by God, that might be one of the top 2 names. It's either him or Islam, right? He might call out Paddy.
I think Ilya calls out Paddy if he wins, probably, because he knows he's not going to be able to go up to 170.
Maybe, but he might be able to coax Islam down or something. I'm just thinking he'll probably say some shit about Islam just the way he is. But if I'm Paddy Pimblett, I'm all in on. I'm praying that Ilya wins the title and calls me out because I'm right there.
Yeah, now, I mean,
most people say he's one away, but you already got the juice. You already got the beef. You already got the history. Book it.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, I would also love them to book him versus Arman. And I do not think that is a fight where it'd be too much for Paddy. At the same time, I would probably favor Arman. So I get that they're playing with fire there. But the best part of this announcement with Ilya and Charles is we basically only have to wait a month. So it will be here sooner than we can count. And, I'm sure my hype meters will be going a lot higher then. I'm just a little sour now because it stings. But a week later, I'm excited for what's coming down. But, we might have missed out on one of the most generational fights in UFC history because I do think it's dead and there's no chance of it happening. I will.
Yeah, we didn't get steak. We didn't get steak and lobster. We just got the steak. You know what I mean?
Yeah, filet mignon's good too. So we'll eat.
All right, folks. We'll be back next week, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern. Be a friend, tell a friend, like, subscribe, share. We'll see you then. My voice will hopefully be better. See y'all.
Drink some tea.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk sport, friends. Thanks for watching.